It took me over a year to land a software engineering job after graduating. And this was after finishing my master's in computer science from a top 20 school. And I wish I could say my story is unique, but it's not. My friends went through the same struggle, my family members in tech too. And man, if you've ever scrolled through the CS major subreddit, you'd think that the entire industry is collapsing. Every day there's another post about how computer science is dead and how you should just give up and go to trade school because the jobs are gone. And the villain everyone points to is AI.
I hate to say it, but AI is likely taking your job.
But concerns are growing about AI replacing some human workers.
And then over time, we'll get to the point where a lot of the code in our apps and including the AI that we generate is actually going to be built by AI engineers instead of people engineers.
Half of entry-level white-collar jobs disappearing and 10 to 20% unemployment in the next 1 to 5 years. It's something.
AI is here and it wants to take your job.
But there's always something that's bugged me about that. There's never any actual data behind the claim. It's always just kind of assumed. It feels true, so people repeat it like it's fact. Is AI really that good? Good enough to replace the average entry-level developer? Or is something else at play here? To investigate this, I'm going to do what any good journalist would do in the modern age. ChatGPT, is AI really taking entry-level computer science jobs?
In short, yes, AI is having an impact on entry-level computer science jobs. There's data out there showing that AI and automation are reducing some of the more junior roles, especially those that involve routine coding or simpler tasks that AI can handle pretty well.
But overall, if you had to say succinctly, is it or is it not taking entry-level jobs?
Absolutely. In a nutshell, yes, AI is indeed taking some entry-level jobs.
Okay, thank you, ChatGPT.
You're welcome. Anytime you need more answers, just let me know.
So case closed then, right? AI says AI is taking jobs, therefore it must be true. Well, I'm a little suspicious GPT might be a bit biased, call me crazy, so luckily I didn't just stop there. And so I headed to Google and asked it. Maybe Google will tell me a different story.
Okay, AI is ending entry-level jobs, it's ending careers. Goodbye 1,650,000 tech jobs. Oh my god, it's official, AI is already killing entry-level jobs. AI is gutting the next generation of talent. The AI apocalypse, oh my god. I mean, it looks like Google is just showing more of the same thing here, man. It looks like a lot of the media is just hammering this narrative that AI is taking your jobs, especially for computer science majors. Yeah, did AI kill the entry-level role? So I might have to do a little more digging to see if there's any way I can find something that has a different perspective on this. But so far, it looks like Google is saying the same thing. So I've been going through Google, trying to investigate this, and every article does say AI is stealing your jobs. But then when I go and read them, it's no hard data. It's basically just saying AI is going up in use and entry-level jobs are going down, and therefore AI must be taking jobs. But still none of that hard data that I'm really looking for. So I'm gonna keep looking. But wow, as I continued to search different search terms, different everything, almost all the top results were saying the same thing. AI is taking jobs. I began to wonder maybe that's all there is to it. Maybe I myself have a bias and I'm just fishing for whatever I can find that will prove me right. But right as I was about to give up, I came across this article. Okay, still looking for something. Oh, okay, this maybe. Okay, let's look at this. The Brown Daily Herald. Never heard of it, but okay. Computer science economics experts discuss AI influence on job market. Okay. Oh, here we go. Okay, so while students have a reason to be concerned about reduced workforces, the job cuts can be attributed primarily to high costs, rapid growth, lack of focus, investor pressure, interest rates, and other business considerations. Professor of computer science Shriram Krishnamurthy, hopefully I said that right, wrote in an email to the Herald. So here's like the first thing we've seen that is giving other explanations for why it's hard to find a job in this market, especially for computer science students. It's not just AI, it's high cost, all the things he listed that are contributing to it. Okay, if we continue here, it says tech firms did a lot of hiring during the pandemic and they may have overshot the mark. But he says he can't rule out AI completely. I'm just saying that we don't know. So finally in this article, I finally found an alternative to AI taking your jobs, the pandemic. Basically, this article says what a professor of economics at MIT was saying is that sure, AI could be a factor, but tech firms did a ton of hiring during the pandemic, they overshot, and now what we're experiencing is a correction. There's other experts in this article that say similar things, that layoffs are happening in areas that are less AI focused, and now hiring is happening in areas that are more AI focused. So finally, we're starting to get somewhere and finding an alternative to the complete narrative that is on media right now, that AI is taking all of our jobs without any real hard data. I mean, it makes sense, right? A few years ago, getting a software engineering job was so much easier and the benefits were insane. I mean, Google's campus was more of a theme park than it was an office space. And as the pandemic hit, the big tech companies continue to hire and promote these practices like crazy. This wasn't likely to last forever. Maybe it's just an overcorrection. In a few years, the jobs will all come back. But maybe that's just too much to take from just one source that I found. And so I kept searching until I hit the jackpot. Wait, I think we found it, guys. Okay, this looks like the jackpot. Basically, this looks like some hard data here. Hard data that shows that AI might not be the one thing that's taking our jobs. Take a look at this. All right, so looking at this article, there's a lot of data here and a lot of graphs. So we got to break this down and see whether or not this proves if AI really has a significant impact on the job market right now. So the first thing that they do here is that you can see that it ranks the different types of occupations that have the highest risk of being replaced by AI and the lowest risk. So if we look at the first section here, which is called Is the Job Apocalypse Here, we have this graph. And so I want to explain this graph, so let me take a quick screenshot and we'll go into this and let me zoom in on this graph. So essentially what this is showing is that, so 5 is the jobs that AI is most exposed to taking over and 1 is the least exposed. And so we can see that in this graph, let me highlight this right here. So if we highlight this is the graph, that line at the bottom, that's the one for the most AI exposed jobs. And then this one at the top right here is the one for the least AI exposed jobs. So essentially what we're seeing here is that it's the opposite of what you expect. The jobs that are most easily replaceable by AI are actually the ones that are experiencing the least amount of unemployment. So that's what the first graph shows. And so that paints a different picture than everything that we've been seeing in the media so far. So let's go on to the next one. And so basically on the second one, it's like maybe people are just giving up on finding work. And so they use the same similar graph. And as you can see, the bottom graph that I highlighted earlier, for the most exposed, they're also not exiting the labor force anywhere as much as the ones who are least exposed to AI. So once again, we see in terms of leaving the workforce, this also isn't true. And then if we go to lateral movement, maybe people are moving away from computer science and going into different jobs, into jobs that are less AI taken. And so they look at that. And if we look here, once again, the one with the most exposure, which is 1 here, is actually the least amount of changing occupation, and the one with the least amount of exposure to AI taking their jobs is the one with the most. And so again, even in that scenario, AI is still not a predictor of whether or not people are changing jobs. And so they continue on with a bunch of different graphs. I'll point out a few more here, but let's go to recent graduate unemployment rate by AI exposure. So this one is really important to people like me and a lot of you who are probably just recently graduating and looking for a job. And so they're trying to see what is the difference here. So let me take a picture of this as well. And so let's look at the key here. So if we look at the key, we can see that other young workers that are highly exposed to AI, and then we have recent graduates who are highly exposed to AI. So the yellow line here is recent graduates that are highly exposed to AI. And they're actually, if we look at this line right here, they're actually the least amount of unemployed, which is crazy because it definitely feels like in our area that it's increased so much. But sure, it's increased from a low baseline. Because if we look at these other jobs, if we look at other young workers who aren't recent graduates but are highly exposed, we'll see, yeah, as we would expect, those ones are definitely higher, right? You can see that there. But if we look at young recent graduates who are not highly exposed, we can see in the data that they're actually more likely to be unemployed. So yeah, that's this line right here. Let me highlight that as well. So this line is the line of workers who are in industries or are working in jobs that are less AI exposed, and yet they still have a higher unemployment than workers who are the most AI exposed. And so we can see in these graphs that on every single level that they're doing these analysis on, that it's just not panning out that AI is the reason that we're losing our jobs.
And their conclusion is that we don't see the effects because they have not materialized, at least not yet. Official statistics on AI diffusion, as noted already, tends to be lower than popular discussion might lead you to believe. So there it is. We finally have some hard data, and that data shows that AI is likely not the main cause of all the difficulties finding CS jobs in this market. It is entirely possible that those difficulties stem from an overall slowing in the labor market in the economy, along with an overcorrection done by the big tech companies from their hiring during the pandemic. In all honesty, the truth that I've come to is this. While I personally believe that AI isn't the major factor causing unemployment for CS entry-level workers, there's no way to really know that. We're still in the early stages of AI, and there's a lot of fear about what it can do to disrupt our daily lives. A lot of the media, as we saw, seem to feed into that narrative, maybe because there's some truth to it, or maybe because it just makes for a good headline. It'll take time before we can say with certainty what AI's real impact on the CS job market will be. But if there's one thing I hope you take away from this little investigation, is that the AI CS job apocalypse probably isn't here yet. And so if you have a genuine passion for CS and for software engineering, maybe don't trade in your laptop for a wrench just yet. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed, please consider subscribing. You may have noticed I'm a pretty small YouTuber, so every subscriber really means a lot to me. I plan on uploading a video about tech and the industry every week, so if that sounds interesting to you, I'd love for you to become a part of this community. Let me know what you thought of this one in the comments below. Until next time, peace.